Welcome to episode Chat Sports Talk, and welcome to week number 3 of the NFL. And we definitely have some interesting takes so far this season. It's only 2 games into it, so it's still a lot of games still have to play. But it seems a lot of tropes have reemerged, especially for my Bears. They look horrible. The way they got demolished in Detroit was proof positive of that. But speaking of last week, and then finishing 11-5, slight dip from the first week, but still kind of impressive. I mean, I'm not going to say here pat myself on the back on anything, because my bias showed against, the Bears, and yeah, that was I need to stop living in the pipe dream, I think. Dallas almost coughed up the game against the Giants, but ended up winning in overtime. Even though they had a little questionable opening. Pittsburgh was all out sorts against Seattle. Another one I lost. Indianapolis was a little too much for Denver, and there seems to be a little dissension in the ranks in Denver right now between Nix and the head coach. And then Atlanta's defense just stifled Minnesota. This is what I thought would happen to Minnesota and Chicago in week 1, and it didn't happen. But Atlanta went at it, and Penix got his revenge on J.J. McCarthy from back when they were in college, where McCarthy beat him in the championship game. And then I thought the Raiders would come out and smack the Chargers, but no, not the case. And it was the Chargers defense that just disrupted Geno Smith the entire night and kind of ruined that for me. And that game, the first game on Monday night between Tampa Bay and Houston, that was a good game. Had me on the edge of the seat on that one as I was enjoying that show. And then more injuries have created turmoil in San Francisco, but they still end up winning against New Orleans. They were injured coming in. Now there's more injuries following. A lot of injuries took place last week. Burrow is going to be out for a long time. Brock Purdy for Niners are going to be out. So interesting things shaping up. Now it's time to head into week number 3 as we dive into Thursday Night Football over there in Western New York as the Buffalo Bills will play host to Miami Dolphins. Miami right now is not functioning, I think, the way they thought they would. Tagovailoa, I mean, if you go 1 for 1 for touchdown interceptions, you're not going to win many games. Period. Dot. I mean, he has 3 TDs but 3 picks for almost 430 yards. While Josh Allen hasn't really been doing a lot of throwing touchdowns because he only has 2. It's been really a running attack, especially led by James Cook, over 170 yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns. While Aki barely registered 100 yards in 2 games. So there is definitely some issues to deal with down in South Beach. It's that defense for Miami. It's really sus. Coughing up 33 points per game. One of the offense best showing was against New England. I expect Buffalo to go in there and continue to dominate. I didn't think they beat the Jets much as they did, because I almost picked the Jets last week and I went against it. Because it's just one of those games I thought the Jets could sneak out with one. But the Jets still look grounded over there in New York. But with the Bills, I think it's just going to be the Allen and Cook show. And it's going to be hard for Miami trying to stop that. I think Tua should have a decent performance. Or maybe he'll probably have like 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. But if they can't run the ball, and Buffalo has been known not to stop the run, because look what Derrick Henry did to him week 1. But I think that The Bills should actually come up on top of this one right now. They have a 77 from analytics point of view advantage, and they are favored at 10.5. I'm questionable about that, but the way these two teams have been kind of operating so far this week, it could happen. But you also got to think Miami put up 27 against New England, and Buffalo did cough up 40 to Baltimore. So for points, that's on you, but take the Bills for the W. Let's go ahead and jump into Sunday. Let's go ahead by the City by the Lake in Cleveland, Ohio, as the Green Bay Packers come to town, take on this team that's I don't know what's going on up there in Cleveland. Flacco right now leads the passers, almost 400 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns, but 3 picks. Judkins hasn't even cracked 100 yards in 2 games. Judy's probably about their only bright spot on the offense, over 100 yards so far this season. But if you look at Green Bay, Jordan Love right now, it's just being phenomenal. It's going to be a time when he's going to cost some things up. But right now, he's doing everything correctly. 20 yards shy of 500 with 4 TDs. Jacobs over 150 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. I mean, if you get 75 yards and a touchdown a game, perfect. That's what you want out of your running attack. Kraft is a favorite receiver. The tight end, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, not having Jaden Reed could probably hurt that Green Bay passing attack. But as you know, this Kraft seems to be his go-to anyways. And some other questionables for the Cleveland depth chart. But if you look at the past couple of games that Cleveland's played, I mean, besides the Cincinnati game, Baltimore just ran them over. And they really haven't done anything. I mean, 16 points is pretty much your average. And Green Bay has been averaging 27 points, but only allowing, 31 in total, so they only cough up 15. Yeah. Definitely looks a lot favoring Green Bay. Right now, analytics gives Green Bay a 70% chance. Vegas, 7.5. Green Bay, all the way. I'll take them both. Now we're over to the Music City, where the Titans, the winless, will take on the undefeated Minneapolis Colts. You heard that correctly, undefeated. And Daniel Jones is their starter. Yes, the former Giants quarterback who had a terrible year landed in Minneapolis to give Richardson some competition, but ended up taking over the starting role. Right now, over 580 yards in the air with 2 touchdowns. Decent numbers. Cam Ward, not really living up to the hype as of yet, but I do expect that to kind of change. Over 280 yards in the air, about 1 touchdown. Running-wise, I mean, right now the Colts' running attack is ferocious with Taylor coming out of there with over 230 yards on the ground, while Pollard, the former Colt, has over 150 yards on the ground, but neither one of them has found the pay dirt. But looking at the past couple of weeks, the Colts had a great game against Denver. Came from behind. Their first week, they dominated Miami. And with Tennessee, they took on Denver, couldn't really, competed for a little bit, then just gave up. And then the Rams came into town and just messed them up. Definitely two teams I think are going different directions, and not the directions I thought they would go. I thought Tennessee would be the one sitting on top and Indianapolis on the bottom, but it's flipped. The Colts right now looking really good. Give them all the credit in the world. Give credit to Jones. He's actually living up to the hype once again, like he did when he took the Giants to the playoffs a couple seasons ago. Actually, quite a few seasons ago. But the reason why he got hit, he got paid, and they let Barkley leave. Look at the Giants now. But anyways, that's a different story. But right now, analytics has it 66% in favor of the Colts. And they also give them a 3.5-point advantage. I like both. I'm taking Indy to win in the Music City. Let's head up to Minnesota, don't you know? As the 1-1 Vikings play host to the undefeated Bengals, who are unfortunately without Joe Burrow. He is gone for the foreseeable future with an aggravated turf toe where he's going to need surgery to repair. Means Jake Browning is coming up to start for the Bengals once again. He had a decent outing against the Jaguars, but he did throw 3 picks. So that's something you definitely got to keep an eye on. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins they're going to get their catches because he's definitely throwing. I mean, he had over 240 yards in the air, 241 to be precise. And J.J. McCarthy right now is actually out with an ankle injury. So looking at our stats in the previous outings, I mean, the only thing you go after is, look at Cincinnati and kind of go, okay, look what they did against Jacksonville with a backup quarterback. But he had 3 picks, and Minnesota's offense looked terrible last week against Atlanta. Now, Carson Wentz is now taking over the starting role of Minnesota. To see if he can lead the team in the absence of J.J. McCarthy. I mean, he still has Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and T.J. Hawkinson. So he's got some targets to pass to. I think the injuries right now for Cincinnati, it's which match do you want? Everything's pointing towards Minnesota. I was thinking of not picking the Vikings on this matter just because of the problems that could arise with the injuries, but it looks like that I think I like the Vikings just a little bit. I do think it's going to be closer than probably 5.5, though. I think this is the way the offense fell apart last week against Atlanta. They should have a better outing in Cincinnati because their defense is still atrocious. But with that being said, I'll take Minnesota edging out the Bengals. Now it's time to head over to Foxborough as the Steelers come to town, take on the Patriots. Both teams right now 1-1 on the season. Mixed messages right now with these teams. Defense for the Steelers looks very susceptible. Aaron Rodgers, even though he had a decent game last week, I mean, he had a great game against New York. He really wanted to take it to the Jets. I think that's all he wanted. Right now, I know he's tied Brett Favre on the all-time touchdown list. So just a matter of time before he passes him. But he has over 440 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. Drake May on the other side, over 500 yards, 3 touchdowns with the pick. They're both about the same in terms of accuracy, 40-63, 49-69. Both running attacks are kind of missing. How much, Pittsburgh gave up points to Seattle last week. It's going to play in the havoc, but New England right now is shooting themselves in the foot with unnecessary penalties. And both games they played, and it was really close. They lost this, the 7 to the Raiders, but then beat Miami by 6. And Pittsburgh struggled against the Jets, but then winning in the end by 2 in week 1 and getting blown out by Seattle. So these definitely 2 teams, I don't know how to just visibly look at them. But right now, analytics favor Pittsburgh slightly by 51%. They also give Pittsburgh a 1.5-point spread. I'll tend to lean towards Pittsburgh just because of Aaron Rodgers and J.J. Watt. But I would not count out New England in this game. I think this is just one of these games you got to take a coin to and just kind of flip it. But I will give it to Pittsburgh, but I think this one I'm probably the most uneasiest with so far. Now we head to Philadelphia as the undefeated Eagles play host to undefeated Rams to see who's going to have the top seed right now early in the NFC. Matthew Stafford's having a really phenomenal year thus far, over 540 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns in the pick. Jalen Hurts, over 250 yards, no touchdowns, but doesn't really have to, at least in the air. He's throwing a lot. Saquon Barkley, It's been a focal point, almost 150 yards on the ground with 2 TDs. Kyron Williams for the Rams, over 130 yards on a touchdown. If the Eagles could find a way to take away Puka Nacua, well, just having Puka Nacua, my apologies, sir, to limit his action right now. He's over 200 yards in 2 games. So he's a 100-yard receiver right now, but he's yet to find the end zone. And you look what the Rams have done. I mean, only 14 points against the Texans, but then 33 against the Titans. Philly doesn't score a lot. I mean, they had that great game against Kansas City, winning 20-17. That great game against Dallas, where unfortunately, having one of the premier defensive players get ejected for spitting on Dak, trying to keep Byron Young out of that backfield for the Eagles because he's already got 3 sacks so far this season. So keep Jalen Hurts, out of his grasp. Part of me try to focus more on the run, rely more on Saquon. Try if they turn on hamper Saquon, then he can go in the air and be able to hit his receiver, especially Devontae Smith. As right now, analytics favor Philly at 58%. You also give them a 3.5-point spread advantage. I do think this is going to be a very close, tight game. I am going to go with the Eagles as well. Now we head down to Tampa Bay where the Jets have landed. Try to see if they can take out Baker Mayfield. I mean, the Jets offense is not the Buccaneers offense is not overly complicated. Baker throws the ball a lot. And he runs when he has to. He finds ways to win. I mean, he did against Atlanta. Helped out the kicker, missed the game tire. Houston, they was able to find ways to come together, come from behind, and win that game. And the Jets right now have just been out-muscled the past 2 weeks. The defense has coughed up an average 32 points a game. And that's something that the Jets fans normally hang their hat on. They normally try to say, hey, we don't have one of the better defenses. Not this year. And then with Justin Fields being out with a concussion, the offense looks completely different. I mean, that was evident against Buffalo. Right now, analytics favor Tampa Bay by 70%. They gave them a 6.5-point spread. I see no lies in this particular argument, and I'm going to go with Tampa Bay as well. Now we have to D.C. It's the Commanders play host to the Raiders. Both teams come in this competition 1-1. Geno Smith looked horrible last week against the Chargers. He now has 4 interceptions for the season. Jason Daniels right now is questionable with a knee. And then losing Eckler as well as your primary running back. Definitely going to hurt, but Krosky Merritt seems to be a decent backup thus far. Genti hasn't really lived up to the hype he did when his final year in Boise State. I mean, saw what he did against the Chargers, and it wasn't anything special. So I don't know if they know how to use him correctly or whatnot. I mean, I'm sure Carroll will find a way. He always seems to find a way. But both teams had disappointing losses last week where they just didn't live up to expectations. And with Washington, I think I kind of believe in a little bit more. Right now, they're favored at 61%, and they have a 6.5-point spread advantage. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think the Raiders will make this a competition just because Geno Smith will find ways to make this a game. He always seems to. So I don't think it's going to be. I'm iffy about that point spread. So that one, once again, that's kind of on you if you want to take the points or not. But definitely, I would go with Commanders to come out on top. It's time to head to Charlotte, where the Panthers play host to the Falcons in the NFC South showdown between Bryce Young and Michael Penix. Penix had a decent game last week. Now he has over 430 yards in the air and then 1 touchdown for the season. Bryce Young, over 480 yards, 4 TDs, but 3 picks. Rushing attacks, Bijan Robinson is actually living it up, 167 yards on the ground. He also has 125 yards receiving, So he's coming more of a dual threat running back, which is going to play issues for him. McMillan for the Panthers has been the primary receiver, almost 170 yards in the air these past weeks. I mean, the Panthers have not – I mean, they had starting to make that comeback against Arizona, but kind of fell short. And they looked all out sorts against Jacksonville well. The Falcons almost came back against Tampa Bay, just fell short at the end, and they handled Minnesota quite handily. I mean, that defense was in that backfield constantly against J.J. McCarthy. I think they'll have no problems finding Bryce Young back there. Right now, analytics have them at 57%. Point spread right now is 3.5 for Atlanta. Once again, I see no lies in these logics. I'm going with Atlanta to win in Charlotte. Next, I head down to Jacksonville, where Texas come to town in a key AFC South showdown. Trying to keep pace with the Colts, who right now are shocking everyone. But once again, question marks in that receiving core for the Texans. It's going to be a huge factor. Look what they did. I mean, that great game against Tampa Bay, they weren't, just kind of fell short defensive-wise. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, is getting rushed too much time in the backfield. That defense is susceptible to a lot of plays. Look what they did against the Rams as well. Even though they held the Rams to 14, but the offense couldn't generate because the penetration in the pocket. Now, Trevor Lawrence is not having a phenomenal year. I mean, decent, almost 450 yards in the air, 4 touchdowns, but 3 picks. So he's almost a 1-for-1, much like C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's almost 400 yards. So I think Trevor Lawrence is doing a little bit better in that aspect. It's the rushing attack of the Jaguars. I think it's going to be more of a factor when Etienne has over 200 yards on the ground, being a key focal point. If that defense can stay back there and get in that backfield and really disrupt things for him, that's going to be enough. Analytics right now favor the Jags at 52%. Point spread, 1.5 for the Jags. I'm going to go with Jacksonville as well. The SoFi, as the Broncos come to town, take on the Chargers in the key AFC West showdown. West. There's a West. Right now, Chargers leading the pack, which is not unexpected, but see who's at the bottom kind of is. Bo Nix had a terrible game last week. Couldn't do anything right. There's definitely some dissensions in the ranks right now in Denver. Maybe they can iron some things out prior to this week. He has over 380 yards, 4 touchdowns, but 3 picks. So it looks like he's trying to force a lot. He needs to rein him in, get back to what he was doing his rookie season. Justin Herbert is looking poised. 560 yards in the air, 5 touchdowns in 2 games. Looks like everything that Harbaugh wanted to do is actually starting to work. Getting Keenan Allen back is going to be was a huge acquisition. But the running attack, J.K. Dobbins really needs to, I think, be the focal point of this offense for the Broncos. Almost 140 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Chargers defense that can cough up points. I mean, they all cough up 21 to the Chiefs, but the Raiders had no chance. But at the time frame, all the injuries kind of came into factor. It was already too late for the Raiders to make any sort of comeback. And Geno Smith was just out of sorts throughout that game. If Bo Nix can just brush off those cobwebs, those demons, and just leave them in Indy, and don't take them out to L.A., I think the Broncos might have a shot. Right now, analytics favor the Chargers at 56%. They give them a 2.5-point spread. And I have to pick a underdog sometime this week. That seems to be my MO. I'm taking Denver. Up to Puget Sound, where the Seahawks play host to the winless Saints. Sam Darnold has lived up to a lot of expectations. Yeah, he's still kind of throwing in picks. He's 1-for-1, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, but over 440 yards in the air. Rattler's actually doing decently statistically. over 420 yards in the air with 3 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara is trying to be back to his self in the backfield, over 140 yards on the ground with a touchdown. Then you got Kenneth Walker doing his bit up in Seattle, over 100 yards on the ground with a touchdown. But right now, analytics favor Seattle at 65%. They also give them a 7.5-point spread advantage. And looking at the past couple of games, especially with the Saints, in the way Seattle's played, I mean, that's generous for Seattle, but I'm still taking the Seahawks in this game regardless. I think there's going to be just too overpowering for New Orleans. Cowboys come to town, take on the Chicago Bears, and the way the Bears have been playing, it has been a head-scratcher, to say the least. Caleb Williams, over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns in the pick. Dak Prescott, almost 550 yards, 2 touchdowns in the pick. Running-wise, is more towards the Cowboys with, Javonte Williams, over 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, but Devontae Smith, over 100 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb has over 200 yards receiving, but you have to find the pay dirt by Odunze, over 160 yards with 3 touchdowns. So almost identical marks in terms of stats. I mean, it might favor Dallas a little bit more. I mean, especially look what they did. 40 points against the Giants, 20 points against the Eagles. So they're averaging 30 points a game. Well, the Bears are averaging a little over 20 points a game. So looking at that aspect, and that defense for Chicago is atrocious. It is an embarrassment. I mean, 79 points in 2 games, including 52 to Detroit. Dallas right now analytically is favored at 54%. The spread has a Chicago at 1.5. I don't know why they're picking Chicago in that aspect. Right now, I don't see anything good happening in Chicago, and it's already 2 weeks in. I'm getting Dallas the advantage here. I just don't see anything that Chicago's going to do that's going to change my mind on that one. Now we head over to Santa Clara, where the 49ers play host to the Cardinals. Both teams are 2-0. And this is going to determine who takes the lead in the NFC West. And Arizona in the past couple of weeks have won games, close games. I mean, they allowed Carolina to come back. They even allowed Carolina to get the onside kick, but their defense finally stepped up. The 49ers limped into New Orleans and limped out of New Orleans with more people because Brock Purdy is out. So when they went in there, especially since they lost Kittle, and then, Jenkins also being questionable as well. He's questionable again against Arizona. There's going to be definitely some issues there. Mac Jones is definitely going to be a unique aspect with the 49ers. So I'm sure they got, trying to find an emergency quarterback somewhere. But Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, but right now he has that lingering calf issue going. They definitely got some interesting receivers. I mean, Jennings. I think I said Jenkins earlier. That's my bad. But you got Jennings right there. But right now, analytics favor Arizona at 51%. The spread also favors Arizona at 1.5. Now, Kyler Murray put up some decent numbers, 380 yards plus with 3 touchdowns and interception. But beyond that, there's nothing else to really try home about. And he's still a very elusive quarterback. Mac Jones, almost 280 yards for 3 touchdowns. I'm sorry, but right now, I'm going to trust the 49ers in this one. Injuries could play a key factor in this game, so it might be none of the low scoring like they did against New Orleans, which is fine. But I think it's just too many weapons 49ers have. They're just too well coached to not overlook the possibility. Kyler Murray is going to make this a game. There's no question about that one. So I'm not worried about that at all. If you're looking for an entertaining game, this definitely should fit the bill for an entertaining game. But I'll take Mac Jones coming to his own once again and edging out the Cardinals. Now, Sunday night, they got the Chiefs visiting the New York Giants. And right now, Russell Wilson had a great game against the Cowboys until he had the interception in overtime. Typical Wilson. And Patrick Mahomes, I mean, looks outscored a little bit. But he is running with a purpose. He is the leading rusher right now for this Kansas City Chiefs, and that's a problem. You can't have your quarterbacks leading rusher. I said that many years with the Ravens. You couldn't have Lamar Jackson as your leading rusher. And it just wears and tears that quarterback a little bit more. And he's taking on tacklers, would-be tacklers, and running them over like he's Derrick Henry. Because he has over 445 yards in the air with 2 TDs. He also has 123 yards on the ground with 2 TDs. But he does have a pick. Hollywood Brown has come back and tried to make a name for himself, almost 130 yards receiving. But Malik Neighbors had a field day against Dallas. Analytics favor Kansas City at 66%. They also give him a 6.5-point spread advantage. The way the Chiefs have been playing, with that defense, pretty much operating almost at 24 points given up. But that Giants defense is even worse. Giving up 30 points. I think it's going to be which offense is going to come out on top on this one, which one's going to take the most advantage. I think Patrick Mahomes has definitely some decent passing attacks, definitely some decent rushing attacks. I do expect Russell Wilson to have another wonderful game. Maybe also for them to find a different rusher, because right now he leads the Giants in rushing. I don't see the Chiefs stopping Malik Neighbors and Russell Wilson love connection from happening. I'm still taking Kansas City in this game, but I think I'll take the Giants for the points. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what it's all coming down to. And then Monday night, we head to Baltimore as Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions come to town to take on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Jeff Goff, almost 560 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns in the pick. Lamar Jackson over 430 with 6 touchdowns. Jamari Gibbs over 110 yards with a touchdown. Derek the King Henry almost 200 yards with 2 touchdowns. And 2 offenses that are poised to really thrive up there. I mean, yeah, they had a lame duck against Green Bay, but then the offense appeared and ran amok over Chicago. So that's 65 points in 2 games. Okay, do I really expect them to score 33 points against Baltimore? That's possible. They cough up 41 to Buffalo, but only 17 to Cleveland. But it's that offense that's going to be a key factor. They average a little over 40 points a game. And if King Henry and Lamar Jackson can continue that dynamic pounding that they can do against a young Detroit line, I think it's going to be a lot of things. Analytics favor Baltimore 57%. The line also favors the Ravens at 5.5. This is going to be a very key game between these two. Detroit needs to get this win to stay in pace with Green Bay. Baltimore needs this win to end up tying Cincinnati. I think it's going to be a very entertaining Monday Night Football game. Definitely a good one to watch. I do think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I'm just hoping Baltimore doesn't have another huge letdown on prime time like they did against Buffalo. Because Detroit is poised to do that as well. 5.5, sure. I'm still taking Baltimore to win Monday night. I'm hoping they'll stay there and hopefully they'll have the collapse like I said, against Buffalo. I don't see that happening. I do expect them to cough up more points than what they did against Cleveland. Detroit is definitely capable of doing that one. But I think Baltimore should be able to squeak past them. Well, there you go. Those are my picks. Let's see if I can not go down to 10 wins. I'm hoping at least get that 11-win mark once again. But hey, let me know down below what you think, which game did I completely get wrong. Which team has surprised you so far this season? Which one has been your biggest disappointment? You already know my biggest disappointment. Still probably supporting them. Let's mix it up in the comments below. The more we interact, the better it boosts the YouTube algorithm. The YouTube algorithm that we pay homage to to ensure we load our fertile cortex with information that we truly desire. Then I think you help out with this video, give that thumbs up, especially like what I do. If you want to further help this channel out, you can subscribe. It costs you a very low price of $0. You need that today's economy. No tariffs involved. You just click that subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn on notifications next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time. Chat Sports Talk.